Hello everyone, welcome to LexTalk, world's top show presented by Clickaway Creators. Today we have Mr. Anubhav Sinha with us. Mr. Sinha
Hello.
is catering to all law and litigation needs of businesses and empowering their future. That's how I can start his introduction. He's a distinguished commercial dispute lawyer with a considerable consultation practice. His expertise includes international and domestic arbitrations, shipping law, insolvency and bankruptcy, trademark disputes, debt recovery proceedings, and so on and so on. We actually have a lot to discuss about him. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the man himself. Hello, Mr. Sinha. Welcome to the show. And how are you doing?
Welcome. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, sir. Thank you very much for asking, and thank you very much for getting some time out of a busy schedule. I got to know that you are very soon you'll start to travel across the country. So I really appreciate you getting some time out of us,
Thank
out
you
of
for having me
your
here.
busy schedule for today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Really good to hear that, sir. We are, as I said, I tried my level best to cover things about you in my little few words, but it's not just possible for me. So, if I may ask you, if you can guide, if you can fill the voids that I left in your introduction, what's your key
I
practice
think,
area, and
I think
what
you have
made you to think about being a lawyer?
that was pretty much there because, I didn't want to do engineering or being a medical guy, which was the prevalent thing in my family. Everybody wanted me to. But there was some inspiration. My grandfather was a lawyer and some of my uncles are lawyers. So there has been some inspiration. I was used to it, exposed to the legal fraternity for some time. Extended family have been lawyers. So that was always there. And it was a good choice. I thought it was a good choice to be. And so there has been some other people who have been guiding me throughout my legal journey. So I won't say I lacked motivation, and perhaps it was a choice which was not being taken up by many of my friends at that point of time. But now, it has become quite a fad. Many of people want to become a lawyer, and that's good for the fraternity. And I think more and more people joining, more people with great exposure, like you people are providing, it will be great for them.
That's very true, Mrs. Sinha. I also wanted to understand. I guess I've never asked this question to any lawyer. I've always wanted to ask, so I guess I should start from you. What was that point when you see that now you will succeed in the fraternity? Out of how many? I mean, how many years? You have experience of more than decades now. So what was that point of time?
Oh, well, I was, when I finished my law degree from National Law School, Bangalore, I immediately joined a law firm. These are prevalent, most of the choices which we do. And then one day I actually met with a car accident. I had a car accident while going, and I was riding behind and some truck crashed. So I was back home in Calcutta, back home for something. And I thought that, what would have been the end? And, if you are in the legal profession and you really want to make a mark in the courtroom, which I always dreamt of doing, while we growing up, I would lose my opportunity. Nothing to take away from all my good friends who are in the transactional law. They are all doing great job, but it was my personal choice. And at that point of time, I decided, no, I have to get back to litigation. So when I did that and I came back to Calcutta, so there was an interview. I was a member of the Bar Library Club. So there was an interview, and now he is a judge, a sitting judge, Justice Showman Chen. He was there. He was a great lawyer then. So he asked me, why are you doing this? Leaving a great paying job, joining a fraternity, you don't know whether it will do well or not. So I had a very clear idea about this, that I cannot decide that I will fail. If you are getting into the legal practice and going into litigation as a counsel practice, you as a counsel, you can never imagine that you will fail. From the day one, you will have to believe that, yes, I will succeed. There cannot be a chance that I will fail. If you don't have that conviction about yourself, then it will be a problem. Then you will second guess yourself. Every time, year goes round, you have not made enough money, you have not had so many exposures, and your cases have not been reported. You're going on second guessing yourself, and specifically in the first 10 years of the profession, and then you want to divert out, go back to something and all. Have the conviction from the first day that you are destined to do well. Obviously, hard work, a lot of hard work, some luck going here and there. But if you have that, I don't think there is any chance anybody should have a problem, thinking that they will not succeed.
That was very beautifully put, Mr. Sinha. I've actually read about this over the net and in your bio, but when you have put it this very wisely. I guess it was the fifth or sixth year when you started sort of getting the success in the cases.
That comes, that's a natural progression. You like, I've lost all my hair, but usually the gray hairs is the is the time when you take it. As much as law and bookish knowledge that we have from getting out of college, it is the being wise, courtroom wise, takes years of practice, and that's why it's called the practice. You go on doing it, get scolded by judges. Some judges are nice to you and tell you that you're making a mistake. How you have to plead. Same point. Maybe the law is on your side, but you still need to know how to deal with that in the courtroom. Once you know that, it takes a few years. And 5, 6 years, 7 years, usually time. And that's how it happened to me also. I joined the profession sometime late 2007. And by 2012, 2013, I was on my way. There was nothing to even think about getting back.
All right. Great, very well put, Mr. Sinha. Again, my next question to you, rather, I should say, my next thing that I want to understand is a case that was complex for you. I mean, I guess whenever I ask this question to any lawyer, they always say that every case is complex in its own way. But if you can tell us about a legal complex case or an interesting case that you recently worked upon and describe the complexity around it and how you really approached it.
Well, I'll tell you two. Okay. One was usually, see, I do commercial disputes, right? I do commercial disputes. But then one intriguing case which came about some years back, and it went on for some time. And in fact, there were 42 hearings before we won. And that was with regard to the labor regulations, Coal India labor regulations. And I was representing Coal India. And they had a particular coal regulations and pretty much took a position which was opposite to what the prevalent law was, saying that fundamental rights and all these things are something that you can challenge this regulation about, labor regulations. And it was heard out, and we won the first round. And for that, I credit to my senior, I was with Mr. Tilak Bose. He taught me to be extremely dogmatic. You have to go through the law. When these kind of cases come in, you take out every book on the related subject, burn the midnight oil, read out. Just don't do a little bit of computer research. Computer research also, technology research is very important. But reading those commentaries and everything, that is also important. Read out, take out small call-out facts, then preparation for judgments and all. And thereafter, basing your arguments from that, and you do that, and thereafter you proceed. So we did that, and over a period we showed the court that all these judgments which were against us needed to be revisited and changed. So we carried through initially, and thereafter again in the main points of law which were challenged, there was a compromise on some small aspect because this matter was taken up thereafter by a full bench of the Calcutta High Court. And thereafter, we won there also. High Court at Calcutta sided with us. So that was one very interesting case which we did. And one I'll tell you now, which is a burning topic, which is happening just right now. In fact, I have a hearing tomorrow itself. That is flat owners. Okay, a lot of flat owners have got together and formed an unregistered organization and challenged the builders who have not provided their apartments. Now, the question which has come up pretty much is that whether they can do that. Unregistered organizations, can they proceed and file a case? General wisdom is no, we can't. But we dug into it. In fact, I had to order a 1916 book published in America, where it was explained. I found it out from some places, and then we got that book, got those judgments out, found some Indian law, also old antiquated law, and that's what we are going to plead, and most likely we'll succeed. A lot of hard work, a lot of lateral thinking, perhaps a little degree of lateral thinking. It's good fun, but this is going on before the National Company Law Tribunal, and it's a burning topic. I guess if I succeed in it, and there would be a lot of deliverance to a lot of flat owners across the country. That will happen.
Well, fingers crossed then. And I go in the next episode in the same season. If we are, whenever we are having you, I guess we can hear good news on this. So yeah, as I said, fingers crossed. Now I also wanted to have your take. I mean, I generally ask this question. This is a very common question that we ask generally to all the lawyers, to sort of have an average outlook of the thing, which is about the pandemic. But I'll skip the pandemic part of it, because there are, of course, both sides of the coin. When the courts start moving to more remote proceedings and availability. But I'll rather rephrase the question is, out of 10, let's say, if I may ask it that way, how would you rate the current legal system's drive towards encouraging access to justice? Is there a gap? And if there is, then what's the tangible movement in closing the justice gap?
See, I'll tell you, my take on this is slightly different from others. And remember one thing, I go to court every day. I do go to court every day. And the thing is that there is a difference when a person is pleading in front of a camera and the person is in front of you before a judge, and it will be everybody for everyone. There is a difference. So, we always, while doing, actually, to be very frank, if I am doing a complicated matter and I'm doing it over the net, and somebody is standing in front and doing it, there is always that iota of doubt that, that person who isn't physically present will have a leverage. That will. But having said that, I'll come to that, your grading, I'll come to that. But I'll say that, I always thought that the greatest judicial reform which this country had seen, greatest judicial reform, came during the pandemic and because of the pandemic. That is, it became remote. It was accessible. Everybody could see their cases being heard out, what their lawyers were doing, and what was being done over the net. I think it was the greatest judicial reform which came in. Now, why I say this, now a lot of people, a lot of my colleagues will actually say that, well, a lot of people don't have the kind of machines and things which you have, and this and that and otherwise. But the legal system, and this is my take on it, everybody may choose to refer, but the legal system is not here to give us an occupation. The legal system is to run this country. It's a very important fundamental part of running a democratic country, where the people feel franchised, that they are able to see transparency, to see what is actually happening in their own personal disputes. I may send a lawyer to Calcutta from a district. I must send a lawyer from Calcutta to Delhi to do my matter. But I really don't, most of the people don't have the wherewithal. They don't have the financial backing to actually go travel. Right. So I think people should not look at remote access to judiciary in the light of whether lawyers will lose out money. Lawyers will lose out on some kind of an occupation. That is not how you do it. You cannot stop automation because workers will lose out. Right? So similarly, though that is not a good perhaps example, but the thing is that at the end of the day, judicial system is there as a part of a government polity, how to run the country. And I don't think it should be hindered because of the fear that some lawyers may not be able, may lose out on an occupation. On the other hand, I'll tell you, let's say an example of a lawyer who is sitting in a district. Well, I'll tell you this because I'm any of the districts, and they have a matter which is going on, a civil dispute which is going on for some years, and that then an appeal or something lies in the High Court. Now, who is best to do it? Who knows the facts best? The lawyer who was doing it in the district court. So if that person is allowed to plead in front of the High Court by remote access, he cannot travel, he cannot do it, he can do it by remote access. If he does that, who will benefit? The litigant. It is for the litigant the judicial system is arise. Now, all of us may suffer some kind of financial loss because of this. But then that is how the cookie crumbles. You have to reinvent your wheel, you have to reinvent yourself, how you place yourself in the entire thing, and then proceed. I think as I said, because of the pandemic, people got the right to see what was happening, and people could plead and go and do matters across the spectrum. But since then, since the pandemic, and when the courts have reopened and physically everybody is going physically and all that, though I will say that courts are allowing the hybrid system in some places, but it is not encouraged. It is not encouraged. Most of the times it is not encouraged. It is only given a chance when you are perhaps having some kind of a problem there, and that's great. But I think hybrid system should exist as a matter of course. And in all courts, it should not only be restricted to the Supreme Court and a few courts in the high courts, different high courts. It should be there in everywhere, every tribunal, everywhere. Because people miss out on tribunals. You have tribunals, most of the main tribunals are in Delhi. So what do you expect? People from Kerala to travel to Delhi only to do it? You're cutting down on access to justice. Physical access is important. So, virtual access, when we have the technology, we say we are the IT capital of the world. We drive, our engineers drive the entire IT of the world. And we will not allow our people to have the benefit of that IT. I think that's a grossly unthinkable thing that we are doing. And that's why my response is that today, if you are grading access to justice in light of the virtual reality which exists and which we didn't think of, but all of us got used to it for 2 years. We could do it. Right. So I think I would perhaps rate it at 3, and I would be charitable. We have courtrooms, and imagine poor judges in this hot climate, they are sitting and doing matters. They forget about technology. They don't have proper air conditioning, proper ventilation in courtrooms. I think it is time that we look into it. Main part, there's some of us who do all these fancy litigation sometimes, but most of the litigation of this, and India is a very highly litigious country, is done in our subordinate courts. Facilities in subordinate courts are abysmal. They're abysmal in big cities. I'll give you an example. I was instrumental in filing an application for having a creche facility in the High Court at Calcutta. And that was in 2019, before the pandemic. The High Court has not been able to finalize its regulations, though we gave our draft regulations and everything for 3 years. And, woman traveled yesterday itself. We saw one woman who was there in court, and she was hugging onto a baby, which was barely 1.5 months or 2 months old. She had a matter, she had to come, but she had to carry the baby around. I don't know how facilities are being done in this court. We have a lot to give back to the litigants. And that's the system, not. And I'm sure, and most lawyers, if you ask them, most lawyers have been really helpful to litigants. We have gone out of our ways, all my brothers and sisters in the bar, they have tried their best to accommodate people, do matters for free, do everything. But the systemic problem persists. Lot of more technology, and technology is not only the IT, entire ballroom of technologies has to be there. I'm sorry, I took
I
a
actually
little
had
bit of time, but this is a very tricky
oh no,
issue.
no, that was a it's actually a serious matter. I mean, we hear a lot of answers around it. Um, but this is the reality, I guess. What you said was the reality and is the reality actually. I also had a small follow-up question to this, if I may ask, which is, do you think the hybrid model is successful? Is not really successful where we are standing right now, because of the infrastructural issues that we have. I mean, as you said, not we are not talking the higher courts, but the lower courts. The judges, the lawyers there, the litigants there, might be possible that they don't have access to all those things that are really needed to make the hybrid model successful. What do you think on that?
Well, if you have only virtual model, then this argument sustains itself. But if you have a hybrid model, what is your option if you don't have the hybrid model? You have a physical model, only physical model. So if you don't have, and you want to appear physically, you appear physically. Let others who want to do it, people can do it over their phone. If you can download YouTube and watch videos, I can sure they can download Zoom and do this conference and appear in matters. They can see what the matters. It is not only doing the matters. Remember, this is not only doing a particular matter. My client wants to watch me doing it. Then I have actually done it. And that can be possible in a hybrid model. Right. So I can virtually be in that and see what is happening. And so I really don't, I don't see the problem if you have a hybrid. That's why I said a hybrid model. I didn't say virtual. If you have a hybrid model, then there is no problem. That's one thing. And the second thing is, then you question, when the hybrid models or these courts are being closed, what about the millions which has been spent by the government on getting the hybrid models started in all these courts and tribunals? The taxpayers' money which has already been spent in and crores in different high courts, different tribunals to get the machinery, get the infrastructure. There are people, technicians sitting who are in contractual or whatever mode they are. So they are all, that system is already there. Now, one day there might be a nag in the system. There might be some flaw one day. It can't be 365 days. So I really, and if somebody says, I don't know, then we have to learn. Can an IS officer?
From a transparency standpoint as well.
Yes, transparency is there, but otherwise also your money, my tax money, has been spent in getting the infrastructure for all these courts. Now, what is the justification of closing them down? When it furthers a purpose, it furthers a purpose. So we should be thinking at a functionality perspective and the money that has already been spent. And if somebody says that I don't know how to do it, well, you have so many people to help you. Can an IRS officer tomorrow go and say that, no, I can't do this, I don't know how to use technology? No, that person will have to learn it. So if a lawyer is saying that I don't know how to use technology, we will learn it. You cannot say you stop doing something which is good for the people because I don't know how to use it. Let me tell you very frankly, okay, I'm a very technologically challenged person. And I was not being able to do a matter properly, manage this when it's starting. And I was taught by two 60-year-old lawyers who knew better than us, less than 40-year-old. So, that is not really an excuse that I don't know or I cannot manage. We learn. When, push comes to a shove, we learn. And we learn. Doesn't mean that we
As you stated, Yeah, and initially you stated that that's why it's called practice. You see, there's a lot. It's of constant change, so you have to practice and learn and go ahead with it. So
It's like
yeah,
saying that you can't change the law. I have practiced throughout all these things. This law, I know this law. How are you changing the law? How can I practice? Can't
doesn't
say
make
that.
sense.
Can't say that.
That's right. That's right.
So
Let's lighten up the mood here. I guess we have gone.
no, I am a very candid supporter of candid supporter for virtual systems. Okay, because otherwise, what happens? What happens? Law and the practice of law, specifically at the higher echelons, it gets stuck. It gets completely stuck in a particular city and practitioners of that one particular city. Then. So the rest of the country is cut off. Though it's our Supreme Court also. Now we need to have access to that. It's our appeal tribunals also. We need to have access to that. And during the pandemic, everybody had access to it. And I think that's a natural thing that we should get access to.
That's right. We also have a good thing in our hand that India is the cheapest and the best internet available across the globe. So, I mean, I was recently having a session with a South African lawyer, and that's where he said that there is a issue in terms of having access to even the internet, and the amount of internet that we have at such a great rate is just impossible people to even believe in. How are you guys getting such cheap internet and that too of such great quality? So I mean, yeah, as I said, we've gone into the we've gone into this very deeper. Let's our lighten up the mood here. I want to more introduce as we talk about the technology aspect of it. So we're standing in middle of the legal tech era. I would say it's ironically COVID. I mean, the pandemic worked as a catalyst towards it. What are the most commonly used tools for you to ease up the process? From maybe, I mean, this might be from any standpoint.
No, oh, with regard to court proceedings, are you talking about?
Yeah, with regards to the court proceedings and what things goes into the preparation, are there any tools that you are using to ease the
Oh, yeah,
process?
yeah. See, that's always there. So we have legal softwares where all the entire nowadays you see this, all this. So I have my library is from 1840 onwards, so law reports to whatever we have and everything. And every year we have these 670, 80 new books or volumes or 100 volumes. I don't know how many more people tell you. So they get added on. That's a real estate problem. It's a huge real estate problem. But the same thing, all these judgments, all these things are now capsuled into softwares. So everybody, and that is a great thing also. It is impossible. See, when I started practice, I didn't have anything. Because as I said, my family was more into a tax practice. So this was all these books and all that, and sometimes nothing was there. So I put in everything that I earned during the initial years to get my library and everything done. Whereas now, more so than ever, all the juniors coming in, it's a little intimidating that first you will have to have the free real estate. I'm thankful for my grandmother who left me all this. But otherwise, I wouldn't have the real estate to put the books, even if I could buy it. In big cities, it's very difficult. So what happens is you have a computer, proper good computer, laptop, and for good typing and all. And the other thing is that you have these legal softwares, whether it is SCC, whether it's Manupatra. There used to be Grand Jurex, which is no longer existing, I think. But there are other ones also. There are small other ones, local ones. There are various. And they're slightly more expensive foreign ones also. So if you have any of these for that matter, your requirements of a good library is taken care to that extent. To an extent, I still like to read the new judgments coming in the new font and all that. That's always there, but that you can do in your bar room also. And then over a period of time, maybe you want to have a library. But access into, I think these legal softwares and all are doing fantastically. To people can always have them. A lot of people do that. And other than that, my thing today is that you just need to have a good laptop, and you need to have one. Preferably, I prefer an iPad or a Surface, Microsoft Surface, or any one of those ones, because you want to correcting in paper and losing paper and all that. Have that. And the other thing I would recommend is a very good scanner, professional scanner. Don't buy those small ones. Just spend once on a professional scanner. All these bunch of huge documents which come in, just scan them. Goes into your iPad or whatever, whichever device, tablet you are using, and you just carry that in courtroom. You don't have to carry big bulky papers, this, that, this, that. You don't need to. Nowadays you have books, cases, and your papers, everything, it can be in PDF form. So I think that is the way forward. I don't see another situation where another 10 years down the line, we would have poor clerks, and we have asked them, oh, get my books, and they are bringing the huge bunks of books. Though that era is going, it's still there, but I think that era is going. It is now an age where you will carry everything in a soft copy. Yeah. So I think essentially for young lawyers who are joining in, have a good laptop where you can type, have a good decent tablet, where any tablet would do, where you can correct use of the pen. Can correct, and so any iPad, from whether you have the iPad Pro or you have the small iPad or you have a Samsung Tab Basic S6, any of them would do, and just spend a bit on a very good scanner. You can't scan 20 pages at a time. You have to have one scanner which can scan 100 pages at a time. If you have these things and have one of the subscriptions, I think you're sorted. You don't need anything else. This is what my thing with technology would be. And internet, good internet facilities nowadays, as you said, in India, everybody has. But that is something that you just get used to.
That's right. That's very right. I believe, though, so far the session has been great. I mean, we have talked about a lot of things in a very small span of time. And I understand you're a busy bee, so you have to sort of, we are short on time. My next question was actually on time management, but I actually want to ask you another question on this, because you see, there are a lot of wise things coming out of you, and there are a lot of young professionals that watch our show. So if you can sort of guide them, what is the way ahead for them, and what's the suggestion for individuals who are now joining or seeking to join the legal fraternity?
The legal fraternity, in the sense that you are talking about people who are in school or who are finishing law school?
Finishing the law school.
Finishing law school and joining litigation.
Yes, and joining litigation, or have recently been, and recently joined litigation, and finding hard to make their way out of it.
Okay, see, there are 2-3 things which are there. First, as I told you, you have to believe that you will do it. Don't. Second thing is, don't take shortcuts. Don't take shortcuts. I know everything, everywhere it is a problem, because money is a problem. People not getting, your friends are earning lakhs and you are earning some thousands if you are lucky, some in hundreds. I'll tell you, when we joined the bar, and I was earning some lakhs in working in one of the top law firms in Delhi, and I left and came back. I think I earned 10,000 rupees in the whole year. Okay, out of which 4,000 has been paid, 6,000 is pending. So notional billing, as we call it. So from there, but that happens. That happens. So don't get disheartened initially. Give yourself 2-3 years. Take every opportunity, whether the client is paying or not paying. If you have to do it for free, you have to go to a lower court or subordinate court, and not be in the High Court or the Supreme Court or some big tribunal or somewhere, any subordinate court, some rent control office, wherever you get a chance to go and argue a matter. Take that opportunity. Every time you speak, Whether you win or lose doesn't matter. Whether you because of the proper preparation and thereafter you speak, that itself will give you a lift. Once it that is the thing. You have to hone your skills, practice and hone your skills about court craft. You have to know how, but each different type of judge. Today, someone subordinate court you meant to go and appear. 6-7 years down the line, that person may be in a higher forum. So you will know how to tackle that particular courtroom, how to do, how to plead, what to do, what exactly to say, where to stop. And I think one of the most important things we need to know is where to stop. We have a tendency and propensity to show that, yeah, I know this, I can say this, I say this. But sometimes the more important thing is to know already stop. The judge is convinced to stop. You say a little more, judge gets a second one. So these things are there, always there, but I would advise everybody not to lose heart at all. Love what you're doing. Love what you do. If you don't love it, the blind lady will also not be very happy with you. Okay? For all. And another thing with regard to women who are joining the profession, a lot of times, some people give off the vibe that this is perhaps not so conducive, it's much more difficult for women and things like that. That's at all true. Some of the best juniors I have had have been women, and some of the best upcoming lawyers around are women. Some of the best judges around the country are women. So absolutely be clear that this is a level playing field. Sometimes some people, some things go here and there, might. And that may happen for a boy or a girl. So it doesn't really matter. But don't look into that way. Always believe that it is a completely equal playing field. And whether it's you're a woman or a man, you will do well. Believe that and do proceed.
Again, wise words from wise men. As I said, that's the reason I asked this question. As I said, I actually have a lot to ask you. I mean, this session has been going so well that I don't want to
You
stop.
can ask me. I have another half an hour, so it's not really a problem. So if you want to ask, you can ask. But if you want to cut short, you get cut short. No, not an issue. That's absolutely fine.
Again, see that you've put me in the stand now. So okay, let me ask you the question that is coming to my mind straight away, which I actually skipped about the time management. And whenever I ask about the time management, people generally take it just from a professional standpoint. I always ask it from a personal standpoint as well. How do you, or let me put it very formally, time is money in any profession, and in legal, it's most of all. My question is how you ensure to make the best out of your time as a lawyer and as a individual in your personal life as well. You do not carry your case in your head to your family.
No. See, it is very difficult not to say that I don't carry and all that. It is. I don't believe that. If you are worried about a case and you're thinking about that case, you're working 16 hours or particularly on one particular case or 2-3. It happens. There are challenges because of the work, but I have made it been very clear with myself that it is one life, and I have to do a lot of things in life. I love the practice. I love the law, but that doesn't mean that I don't love other things. So if I have to spend time with my daughter, I will do that. If I have to do something, but I tell you, there are certain sacrifices which I have to make. Okay, and I'm grateful to my wife who otherwise takes she takes care because she has a legal practice also, and my other extended family members who sometimes take over these opportunities to be supportive to me. They go and do this. Take my children, my daughter to school, all these programs which happens in school and things like that, which I can't, because I have a particular time by which I have to be in court. The people who are working, they have that flexibility is there sometimes to say that I come a little later, which I don't. At 8 o'clock, 9:30, 9:40, if there is a function, or there's a parent-teacher meeting which I can't manage. Those sacrifices, I miss those. It is not that I really don't want to be there. I want to be there for my daughter, but I miss those. And so those sacrifices have to be there. But I do take time out, and I will not go on over a period where I do not have time for my daughter or for my friends or for myself to watch a good movie, go out, have meet with friends, or have good food or something. That's not. I will take my holidays. I will do that. So I try to be very balanced about this. I will not bend my back and break my back for just doing some more matters and more money. Yeah, you need some money, but after that, it's more a satisfaction of your life that you have to have. Right? That's your answer. Like I manage, but otherwise, I'm a very bad time management. My juniors will tell you, you manage your time very bad. You are doing this and that, and make our life well. But
I guess we have to do a session with them then to understand this.
hopefully you will be taking care of them. The one thing that every lawyer, I think, should think about is giving back to the profession. And the best way to give back to the profession is by creating someone else who, is as good a lawyer. And if I am able to give back by having one or two juniors who become really good legal practitioners, some of them are already on their way, hopefully. And, I would say that I would have done best thing to the profession.
That's right. Value creation is another part of it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Mr. Sinha, this has been a great session.
Thank you.
So far, and we've enjoyed everything that I asked you, from your personal journey to your takes on some of the serious matters in the legal fraternity to some of the light-hearted questions. We've enjoyed all of it, and this has been a great session. So thank you very much for sharing such great insights with us, and we look forward to having a chat with you again in the future on some other trending topics in the international legal industry. So thank you very much for the session. I hope you enjoyed.
And thank you. Have a great day yourself. Bye-bye.
Pleasure is all mine. So thank you very much. And for our viewers, if you like this chat with Mr. Sinha, I want you to like this video, to share this video, and to click on that red button and subscribe to Click of a Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do. And you have more coming in from legal industry leaders like Mr. Anubhav Sinha. This was Sagar for LexTalk World signing off.